Hey guys, how are you? This is Jim Prusak from the Pain PT, and today we're going to talk about self-compassion versus self-criticism. And I think this is a big subject because a lot of people I see in this work are very self-critical. They're very much beating themselves up at times, being hard on themselves, and putting themselves down, blaming themselves. Okay, so that's all a form of self-criticism. And if we look at self-criticism, what emotion is underneath that? Because we always want to be looking at our emotions. And you guys know I talk more and more about emotions. It's probably the biggest thing we can look at, our emotions, because they live underneath everything. They live underneath our behaviors. They live underneath our personality traits. They live underneath our symptoms. They live underneath our thoughts. So everything is driven by our emotions. Self-criticism is driven by your anger. Okay, so you're taking anger, but you're driving it into yourself, which is the last thing we want to do to heal. Okay, so it's one thing to be angry with somebody else, and if we suppress that anger, yes, that has a good chance to cause some symptom in our body. But when we take anger and then drive it into ourselves through self-criticism, through blaming ourselves, beating ourselves up, what we're doing is we're just wedging anger deeper into ourselves. So guys, we don't want to do that, right? So one of your practices I want you to notice is when you're becoming self-critical to yourself during the day. When you notice yourself being hard on yourself, blaming yourself for not being good enough, not doing it right, whatever it might be, try to catch that. And what I want you to do is to go underneath the self-criticism and say, well, how am I feeling? And how you're feeling most likely is going to be angry. And I want you just to say, I feel angry. Period. Not to say I'm angry at myself and this and that. I'm so mad. I'm not good enough. God, you got to try harder. Come on. No, don't do that to yourself. Okay. So once you've identified the underlying emotion behind self-criticism, which is anger, admit that, acknowledge that, label that, then let's move to self-compassion. Okay. Let's move to self-compassion. Self-compassion is being kind to ourselves, nice to ourselves, loving ourselves. And this is what we need more of because a lot of times we did not get this from family members and parents growing up, or we didn't get enough of it. So we need to provide it for ourselves. Okay, provide it for our inner child, our little self, our amygdala, our emotional brain. We want to be compassionate. We're not perfect beings. Okay, we're not going to get it right all the time, but it's not our fault. Okay, so we want to be easy on ourselves, not hard on ourselves, guys. It's like doing the opposite of what self-criticism is. Self-criticism is attacking ourselves. Well, we're not going to do that. If self-criticism is being hard on ourselves, we're going to be kind on ourselves. It's not our fault. It's okay. It's all right. Now, as you do that and you be softer to yourself, you're using another strategy that's called reappraisal reinterpretation. This is a well-studied strategy that drops your amygdala activity down, which is the main purpose and focus of all the treatment we do, because that's the part of your brain, I keep talking about that, is implicated in chronic symptoms, is the amygdala, the emotional part of the limbic brain. So we're looking to bring that down in any way we can. When you're getting self-critical and you're driving anger into yourself, you're driving your amygdala up. You're creating more amygdala activity, creating more tension in your body, more pressure, you're going to create more pain. More symptoms. So let's see if we can be kind to ourselves, guys. Be self-compassionate. It's a conscious practice, okay, for many, because in our pattern, what we've learned is to become self-critical. We're trying to change the pattern. Now, just like the pain pattern or symptom pattern or personality trait or behavior pattern, it takes practice, guys. It takes work. It takes consciousness, mindfulness, what we call awareness to do this. And this is your work, okay, if you can think of it. This is your treatment, if you can think of it. So I want you guys focusing on these psychological things, not the physical. Just like Sarno said, do not go to the physical symptom. It's a dead-end street. Move away to the psychological immediately and these underlying factors and emotions and things that are driving your behaviors and that are creating emotions, and that are creating symptoms. So today we're talking about this self-criticalness, self-compassion. So just think of it this way. Catch yourself when you notice yourself being hard on yourself, being self-critical, Again, label the underlying emotion that drives that behavior, which is anger. I'm angry. Okay, admit that, acknowledge that, label that. Take a breath. Okay, I let that go. Be nice to myself. I'm not perfect. No, I didn't maybe get the love I needed as a child. It's okay. I'm going to provide it to myself right now. I'm going to give it to my little Jim inside. I'm going to offer it up. I'm going to let that go, relax. I'm going to move forward again. And I'm going to rinse and repeat this process every time it happens until you start breaking down the self-critical nature you have and you start draining out the anger you have in yourself. You're going to see you'll start to become self-compassionate, more loving towards yourself. Okay? Be very loving towards that inner child that's been beat up and hurt and maybe neglected and attacked and abused in some way as a child. You need to be nice to that person in yourself. Don't be mean to that person. Maybe it's been mean enough. You've endured enough of that. So be your own best friend, not your own worst critic, guys. Be your own best friend to yourself, not your own worst critic. So take this today, guys, self-compassion versus self-criticism. Really think about it. It's one of the ways that anger gets generated and put into the body. And it's one of the leading ways that people do create self-imposed symptoms. Okay, so this is one thing, like a personality trait is another way, but this is one of the ways of a personality trait, you could say, self-criticism, that drives your own symptoms. Okay, guys, I will talk to you next time. Hope you're having a wonderful day. Bye-bye.